All right, viewers, it's 8th of February, 8 a.m. it is, and the counting of votes for the Delhi Assembly elections has begun.
Now, the results are expected to become clear, of course, over the course of the next few hours. The counting process started with postal ballots, which includes votes from the government officials on election duty, voters from the services, and elderly or differently abled voters who chose postal voting.
Voting for all 70 assembly seats in the national capital took place on Wednesday. A three-tier security arrangement has been put in place for the 19 counting centres. The security setup includes 2 companies of paramilitary forces alongside Delhi police personnel. Delhi police has also conducted anti-sabotage checks at all counting centres.
According to the Election Commission of India data, the approximate voter turnout after the Delhi Assembly election stood at just a little over 60%, 60.39 to be more accurate. The Northeast district recorded the highest voting percentage, 66.25%. Lowest polling recorded in the Southeast district at 56.4%. One of the key battles is being fought in New Delhi seat, where AAP leader and former Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal is contesting against Congress leader Sandeep Dixit and Parvesh Verma of the BJP.
Delhi Chief Minister Atishi is facing BJP's Ramesh Bidhuri and Congress candidate Alka Lamba in the Kalkaji seat. Former Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia is also contesting a high-stakes battle there, this time from Jangpura. The BJP has fielded Tarvinder Singh Marwa from the seat, while Congress candidate is Farhad Suri.
The incumbent Aam Aadmi Party, the Bharatiya Janata Party of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Indian National Congress are the main contenders in the Delhi polls.
Now, the current incumbent Aam Aadmi Party is eyeing a third straight full term in Delhi. Most of the exit polls have projected a comeback for the BJP in Delhi, and that's coming after nearly 28 years. However, AAP leaders have said that exit polls have always underestimated the party's seat count. All right, for more on this, we're now being joined by WION's correspondent Siddharth Sibbal from the BJP headquarters in New Delhi. And we're also being joined by Dharamjot Kaur, who's joining us from the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters right here in New Delhi. Siddharth, let me start off with you. The exit polls have suggested, and they have been suggesting, even though there were some changes last minute, but they are mostly suggesting a comeback for the BJP. What's the mood like where you are, and anything that you've picked up on ground at this point? Are there early celebrations already, or is everyone looking at the exit polls with some amount of caution, even in the BJP?
Well, Shivan, it's just 8 a.m. Here in India, and the day has just started, which could be a pretty long day. I'm here at the BJP headquarters, and of course, exit polls are saying a lot of things, but we'll get to know the exact answer later today. Will BJP be back in power in Delhi after 27 years is the big question, but they are fairly confident. Of course, I can show you some visuals of the BJP headquarters. It's this morning, people are just arriving at the headquarters, and for BJP, if there is a victory, it will be something that will be a booster of sorts at the national level as well. In fact, these elections are barometer in many senses. Especially it is testing for the AAP party, because AAP party essentially started in 2011 when we know the Anna Hazare protests started, and thereafter we know that this party was making a lot of gains at the national level as well. Any loss for the AAP party means that the party will have to reconsider its national strategy as well. But all in all, a decisive moment both for the AAP party and for the BJP party as well.
All right, well, Siddhant, thank you so much for that. Dharamjot, coming to you now. Of course, as Siddhant just mentioned, the day has just begun. What's going to likely be a long day for all of us. But to just get a sense of how things are panning out, what is the mood like on ground? You are, of course, joining us from the AAP headquarters in New Delhi.
Well, the mood is pretty similar to what Siddhant mentioned for the BJP headquarters. Here at AAP too, everyone is fairly confident. We saw some of the leaders coming in earlier today. They're all speaking very confidently about the fact that the Aam Aadmi Party will form the state government again for another straight term. Whether or not that happens, again, the million-dollar question, we should know in the next few hours. But there is definitely a flurry of activity where I am here. A lot of media presence, a lot of security, and a lot of, we saw early in the morning senior leaders. We saw visuals coming in where everyone was praying. It almost seems like an exam result of sort, where you have last-minute prayers being made to the Almighty to just ensure that we make it through for another term. That's the mood on the ground right now. Confidence, a little caution, a little divine intervention. That's where we're at.
Dharam, the last-minute prayers, or I think you aptly said it. I just want to draw that contrast. We just spoke with Siddhant, who was there at the BJP headquarters, and we hardly see any commotion behind him. And then you have Dharamjot, who's standing right in front of the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters, where everyone seems to be congregating. Does that say something about, the mood on ground? Does that already give away? Is that a window into what really everyone is expecting to happen? There's a calm around the BJP, and perhaps Aam Aadmi Party is in a bit of a flurry at this point, or to look at all the exit polls with caution still?
Well, Shivan, the Aam Aadmi Party has bit on, if I may say so, a bit of an offense since last evening. We saw both parties at loggerheads with each other over accusations that were made by Arvind Kejriwal and other Aam Aadmi Party leaders with respect to the BJP allegedly trying to horse trade and trying to woo Aam Aadmi Party leaders to switch sides in a last-ditch attempt before the results are officially out. Of course, these are still allegations. There is an investigation underway, so nothing is official as of now. But having said that, maybe yesterday could be an indication of today with respect to how high the energy is, how the party is on offense, how they're watching very closely with respect to how the mandate turns out for them. It's as high stakes for the Aam Aadmi Party as it is for the BJP. Of course, BJP being already at the helm of affairs at the centre is eyeing a term after almost a 20-year hiatus here at the National Capital, Shivan. So very high stakes for them. Equally high stakes for the Aam Aadmi Party that only 12, 13 years ago quite literally changed the game here in Delhi. Will they continue to do so or not? That's the big question.
Right, absolutely. Now, Dharamjot, very important point that you mentioned here. There's been quite a dose of drama in this campaign trail and in the run-up to the counting as well. Siddhant, I want to ask you, we've heard the allegations, the counter-allegations. What has been the response from the BJP to these allegations? How are they handling this?
Well, essentially, it's part of usual process in democracy, I would say. Allegations being made, counter-allegations being made, but essentially it all boils down to what happens on the counting day. And as Dharamjot pointed out, at the end of the day, we'll get to know that who wins the very decisive elections, which will have an impact at the national level as well. While, of course, we know that the counting has just started. We know that the counting started at 8 a.m. Here in India time, and we'll get to know a clarity by 11 o'clock as to who is taking the lead.
Siddhant, while you get us the latest from that front, let me just quickly get our viewers of the figures that are coming in. As of now, the BJP is at 10, Aam Aadmi Party is at 11. Those are the initial figures that are coming in at this point. We will be tracking those as they come in. And of course, there are 19 counting centers at this point, and those are the figures that are coming in. It's the race to I would say over 35. There are 70 total seats, just to give a recount of that to our viewers. As of now, BJP stands at 10, and Aam Aadmi Party, the figure that's coming around, is 11. The counting has just started. We're barely 13 minutes into the counting. Figures have started pouring in, and this how long? I just want to come to Dharamjot. Dharamjot, anything that you've picked up on ground, given the sense that, do you think it's going to be a long day for all of us, or do you think it's going to end earlier? Anything that you've picked up on ground, what people are really expecting?
Well, Shivan, given how confident both parties are, they're expecting that results will be fairly clear, in the next 2 to 3 hours. That's the expectation. It may happen, it may not happen. The more important question is, are the election results going to be accepted as they are? especially by the party that loses, because we've seen so much political rhetoric, we've seen so much tension, so many accusations being flung around by both sides, as ironically the Congress watches on. But yes, between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP, there's been so much tension. We saw that before counting day, election voting day. We saw that after voting was completed, and technically any allegations, any drama doesn't really impact the election result. But it remains to be seen, and hope is that both sides, whatever the result may be, will accept it. We will have a clear government in power, we'll have a clear opposition. That's the expectation in an ideal scenario. Whether or not that happens, whether there's a tiff, whether there is some sort of last-minute horse trading happening, whether leaders who have won will switch sides, those are going to be some big questions that we will have to look out for as the day progresses, Shivan. It's going to be a very, very action-packed Saturday for us.
All right, well, Dharamjot, thank you so much once again for our viewers. As you know, the counting has just begun, 14 minutes into it. The numbers at the moment stand at 12 for the Aam Aadmi Party, BJP at 11. Whether there are any notable trends or surprises that emerge, that will be clear to us in a few moments from now, hopefully.
All right, and we're also being joined by Ms. Aditi Fadnis, who's joining us right here, who's a senior journalist and contributing editor at Business Standard. She's joining us here at the WION studios. Ms. Fadnis, thank you so much for making time and joining us here. As of now, I just, ma'am, want to draw that stark contrast between, we have one of our correspondents at the BJP headquarters, one at the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters. No points for guessing where all the commotion is at this point. It almost seems like there are two different cities altogether. And do you draw any kind of a parallel between these two locations? Any conclusion that you can draw from what we're seeing behind each one of our correspondents? Is there more to lose for the Aam Aadmi Party here at this point, and BJP here is pretty much only there to win?
You're absolutely right. I think Aam Aadmi Party is fighting more or less an existential battle. If it does not come to power in this election in Delhi, with all the cases against Arvind Kejriwal and Manish Sisodia, they are going to face a lot of legal challenges ahead if they don't validate their result with this victory. Having said that, Aam Aadmi Party is in its third term. There is high anti-incumbency, and we saw that because Aam Aadmi Party had to change 29 MLAs. The argument most people give is that the incumbency factor goes against sitting MLAs, not against Arvind Kejriwal as a leader. But then Arvind Kejriwal has been debarred by the court, by the Supreme Court, from holding office or coming to work in the government till such time as the charges against him are not cleared. So that is a double whammy. It's very clear that Arvind Kejriwal is not up there as a chief ministerial candidate, I mean, that's a factor that goes against Aam Aadmi Party.
Ms. Fadnis, now we were having a quick discussion before we came on air, and I was trying to get a sense from you about what you feel about these exit polls which have come out. But we've seen the exit polls go wrong in Haryana. Right. We've seen them go wrong somewhere, even during the general elections. At this point, now again the exit polls are suggesting a win for the BJP. Most of them are. Your take on it?
Well, I would say that there is people of Delhi, particularly the underclass, the auto drivers, the Jhuggi Jhopdi families, people who live in slums outside the glitzy New Delhi 1 and New Delhi 7. These are the people who continue to have almost unshakable belief in Arvind Kejriwal. But because of all the confusion and all the upheavals that have taken place in Aam Aadmi Party after Manish Sisodia's arrest, after his arrest, and the sense of alienation that the middle class is feeling from Aam Aadmi Party, I think that's why the battle is so closely fought, because there are two sets. I mean, I don't like to use the phrase, but the haves and the have-nots who are trying to figure out what kind of government you want in Delhi.
Right, Ms. Fadnis, of course, just to expand on what Shivan said as well, if I could just bring in some key observations for our viewers as well. In 2013, the exit polls underestimated AAP's performance, overestimated BJP and Congress. Then in 2015, we saw that they did predict an AAP lead, but again, failed to gauge its landslide. Now, in 2020, the margin did reduce a little, again, slightly underestimated. There is a pattern here. Now, how do you see these exit poll projections align with historical voting patterns in Delhi, perhaps?
It's very difficult to be an exit pollster in Delhi at this time. Okay. I would not like to be in that position because you really cannot gauge how people are, what people are thinking. People in Delhi are, of course, people who live here, but there are also people who come from across the borders, from UP, from Gurgaon, to come and work here and go back. They may be registered as voters here, but they don't live here. So it's very difficult to gauge what is going on in people's mind. There is no doubt that Aam Aadmi Party has pulled off in the past stupendous electoral successes. There's no, I mean, you cannot have two opinions on that. But it's also true that over a period of time, Aam Aadmi Party has strayed away from its path, which it set out for itself, and people are very quick to note this, even though it may have done a lot of very good work in the fields of education and health.
Ms. Fadnis, you know, we've been talking about the pressure that the Aam Aadmi Party would be feeling at this point. I think the actual pressure right now is on the pollsters, because there is so much pressure on having to get this right, because if these figures come out wrong, and that is a chance, as we've seen by precedent, then it will really pose a question going forward for all future elections to come as well. But as of now, I just want to get your thoughts on this. Do you feel these elections as of now, 8th of February 2025, is this a referendum on Kejriwal?
It is and it isn't. It is a referendum on Kejriwal. It is a referendum on Aam Aadmi Party's MLAs. It's also a referendum in many senses of the BJP. Because if the BJP has been out of power for 28 years, there are very good reasons why it has been out of power. Aam Aadmi Party is challenging exactly those issues that the BJP stands for. So if it wins, if the BJP wins as the exit polls are predicting, then it means revalidation of many of the things that it has said and done in Delhi. The only thing that I am slightly uncomfortable about is the position of the Lieutenant Governor. As you know, Delhi is sui generis. It is the capital of India and it has a very different government in place than elsewhere in India. The Lieutenant Governor has unparalleled powers and he has used them fairly heavy-handedly against the Aam Aadmi Party. But this issue has not come up, interestingly, in the election, nor has the issue of Aam Aadmi Party's lack of internal democracy.
All right, we'll quickly just give a glimpse of the numbers as well. The numbers that are coming in at this point, it's Aam Aadmi Party is at 12, the BJP is at 14, and there's one for the Congress as well.
Right, and you know, Shivan, in fact, I was just going to come to this, that we're almost, I think we seem to have forgotten that this was supposed to be a three-party battle.
Absolutely.
And with the Congress projected to win 0 to 1 seat, Ms. Fadnis, what does this signify for the party's future in Delhi? That's something I wanted to get your thoughts on.
It's 20 minutes into the discussion. It's the first time we mentioned the Congress.
Right.
Does that say something about where it stands?
Yeah, sadly, the Congress, you know, in 2013, when Aam Aadmi Party first came to power and stayed in power for 49 days, it took some help from the Congress, but it has rapidly gobbled up the Congress's support base. So I fear that the Congress and people want to vote for the party that wins, not the party that stands for lofty principles and past performance, but doesn't have much of a chance of winning.
So as of now, BJP is at 14, Aam Aadmi Party is at 13, and Congress stands at 1. They've got that 1 seat, ma'am. Any thoughts on that, where this seat was perhaps expected to come from, or anything, or number of seats to come eventually, even after this? Your thoughts on that?
Hard to say. I don't know where the votes are falling, but these are only postal ballots. So it doesn't really indicate anything very much.
Right, and also I want to ask you, how do you think the voter turnout compares to previous elections perhaps, and what factors that may have influenced this change? If we talk about it, in 2015 it was 69.82%, 2020 62.59%, 2025 it's 60.39%. So again, what factors do you think influence this change?
5% difference is quite a lot. People are quite fed up of repeated elections. So it's possible that there's some element of that. It could also be that many people have not come out to vote because they're simply disenchanted with the whole system, which is a discomforting sort of observation.
Would you like to have something to drink? I think just take a quick break, ma'am. Also, at this point, we'd just like to give a quick roundup of the numbers that are coming in. Aam Aadmi Party at 12, BJP again is already in the lead. We're seeing a figure of 16 coming in, and Congress is at 1, as we were discussing earlier as well. The first time we're discussing the Congress, but where does the Congress go further from here?
Right.
That is definitely a question, which will eventually need to be answered by the Congress themselves.
Right, and absolutely, if I could again just bring in some key observations from what we've seen in the past. In 2013, the Congress was expected to get 17, only won 8. 2015, 2020, completely wiped out right now, as you mentioned also, 25 minutes into counting, we're seeing one seat for the Congress. So again, of course, how do you assess this performance?
And but that pretty much only reinforces the fact that the race is between Aam Aadmi Party and BJP. But the margin of a win, Ms. Fadnis, do you feel that is going to remain tight? Then that means the race will be on till the final figure isn't achieved.
Oh, absolutely. I have no doubt at all about that. And even after that, you may see the situation in Delhi changing in 6 months or even less. Because if a very marginal, very small margin of victory installs a government, people can actually change sides. We've seen that happen even before the election. 7 sitting MLAs, after the election was declared, 7 AAP sitting MLAs crossed over to the BJP. So it's hard to say what could happen, but definitely, I mean, it is a narrow margin of victory in terms of seats could result in president's rule in Delhi if the BJP is not in power.
We have seen that once in the past before the 2015 results came in, and of course that was a meteoric rise of the Aam Aadmi Party and a major win. It was a stupendous win for them. But at this point, Ms. Fadnis, let's look at a scenario that BJP comes to power. What does Delhi look like from here? We've seen what the last 10 years have been under the Aam Aadmi Party, but BJP, if they come back, it will be nearly after 28 years. What will this BJP ruled Delhi look like if that becomes the case?
The BJP has spelled out a lot of things, including allowances for women, a promise that has worked very well in the past, so in other elections. So we should look forward to that. We should look forward to an overall refurbishment of Delhi, not just of New Delhi, but all of Delhi, which means better lit roads, better management of land, possibly a re-look at the health facilities that AAP has instituted, possibly a better system of sanitation and garbage collection, because the MCD, as you know, is responsible for that, and the BJP and the MCD, which was dominated by AAP at one stage, have been at loggerheads with each other. So you've had repeated strikes of garbage collectors and so on.
Right. Now, just again to counter that, of course, there have been reports of AAP MLAs switching to BJP. Now, I want to understand, what do these defections perhaps indicate about the internal dynamics within the Aam Aadmi Party, and how might they affect the party standing, or how have they already, in fact, affected the party standing?
That is a very good question, and this is something, unfortunately, that has not been discussed in the election at all. The lack of internal democracy in Aam Aadmi Party has been a subject of great discomfiture to the Aam Aadmi Party, because it's many people have left, including very senior founding members of the BJP like Yogendra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan, citing the high-handedness of Arvind Kejriwal. I am not saying this, they are saying this. Internal democracy in Aam Aadmi Party has worked so long as Kejriwal has led. We saw Atishi saying that they will, when Kejriwal was put in jail, that they will hold cabinet meetings inside jail. Now that is a laughable proposition. Yes. You cannot have cabinet meetings in Tihar jail. So with Arvind Kejriwal being absent from the scene, how is the issue of democracy going to be addressed in Aam Aadmi Party? We also have a government in Punjab where Kejriwal's interference apparently has caused a lot of angst to the AAP unit in Punjab. We've seen visible manifestations of that. So yes, democracy is a big issue. Not all parties are internally totally democratic. We know that, and that includes the BJP sometimes. But I mean, Aam Aadmi Party is led by one man, and its policies are decided by one person. Who should join Aam Aadmi Party and who should leave it is decided by one person.
Right.
So that is not a very happy situation to be in.